Welcome back, everyone, to our gameplay series of Pure Farming 2018. So in yesterday's video, I was talking about the fact that so far the developers have been issuing new updates on Fridays, and I talked about how that, I was recording that on a Friday and I hadn't seen any mention of a new update or what might be in it, so I wasn't sure that there was actually going to be one. And lo and behold, as soon as I get done with the video and uploading and all that sort of thing, I go over to our Discord to let you guys sort of know what I was doing. And Lady Luck told me that, yes, in fact, there had just been an update pushed through Steam. And sure enough, when I loaded back up Steam, there was an update in the download queue. So here we are. We have a fresh new update version. I believe it's 1.1.3 now. And it's got some big stuff in here. And again, I hadn't seen any mention of it beforehand. So let's talk a little bit about some of what is involved. Obviously, there are a number of bug fixes. We're not going to talk about those. They're also working on improving the AI, working on the field. And that's something we're just going to have to see as time goes along once we get back into the field work. But as far as new options they have added, well, so far we've only been able to use this one camera outside of the tractor, but now we have a first person mode, even when you are not driving. So that's pretty good. So we got that taken care of. Another thing that has been sort of just an annoyance thing for me is the units in places like the silos have been in liters. So they've been in the metric system, even if you choose to be in just what I'll call the American system. Seems like we're one of the few places in the world that still use it. Feet and inches and pounds and all that sort of thing. And so I end up with water tanks and so on that are in gallons. And I go to a silo that is in liters, so that didn't really mesh very well. That has been fixed. So now everything will use whichever units you decide in the options, whether it's Imperial or the metric system. They've also added some more options for key binding. And here's something that I know some people have been talking about. So normally when you walk, you push forward, and this is how you walk. You press the left shift if you want to run. Well, now, as the default key binding, caps lock, it's a default run all the time. No more holding down left shift, so we can run around this farm all day long if we want to. So that's pretty good. I like that as well. But then probably one of the biggest things by far that they've put in, if we come to our tablet, look at the bottom of that screen, a weather forecast. So you can see it shows today's weather as well as up to 6 days in the future. Very nice indeed, a full 7-day forecast, and I would imagine that this is not going to be 100% effective, but for now you can see that we have rain, but it's not going to be for several days, which tells me that we could get back to spraying on our orchard and be able to get a full growth cycle before the rain comes once again. So that is huge. And if we go into the vehicle store, they've actually added a couple of new items. We have a new tractor, and we're going to scroll down because this bad boy is all the way toward the bottom. So we've had the JCB Fast Track 8330. Okay, we see that here. If we scroll down a little bit more, now we've got the special edition. So we got this cool matte black looking tractor. Still the same, as far as I know, everything is still the same. 348 horsepower. 17.2 gallons per hour of fuel usage. And you can see they're going to give us one of these for free. All right, so we've got that going for us. If we go under transportation, now we've had our options for the Mitsubishi L200 in a couple of different colors. Now we have the L200 Monster. So a little bit different look here. And once again, you can see the first one is going to be free. So that's why I say this was a pretty major update. Also, just one other thing that I know was in there is whenever we are buying and selling and upgrading with our animals, whether it's the pigsties or the cow barns, in the past where I've had to walk into the circle to sell, then I have to walk back out and then walk back in to buy again. Well, that's supposed to be gone. We'll see when the time comes whether or not that has indeed happened. but a lot of very good updates. So I have to commend the developers once again. They are on top of this. They're listening to the community, and they are active on the forums, and obviously they are active with the development of the software. So I'm very excited about that. Cannot wait to get started. But biggest thing is, it is bright outside. There is no rain in the game. After 3 days in a row of rain, it's time to get back to work. So again, we see plenty of sunshine in the near future for us. Let's take a quick look at our notifications. So of course we got cow barn number 1's got a little bit of milk for us. We know cow barn number 2, we just recently sold out our adult cows, replaced them with new calves. We now have 45 calves there, so it's going to be a few days before anything's ready to be done there. We know our pigsties are already ready to go in 3 more days, so everything is good on the animal front. Now we need to get busy on these orchards. Okay, let's go ahead, head to our map. I tell you what, we don't need the map. We need to go under the tab key because I want to go straight to our sprayer. There we go. All right, our sprayer, you can see we've got about 2/3 still in there and quite a bit of growth here. You can see. So once we get this spraying done, we are going to be in good shape. So it won't be the brand new start of a cycle, that's for sure. In fact, I'm not even going to fill up the water storage, which you can see is currently at 0. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to do it on camera. I mentioned to you before that I do plan to do these sort of tasks every so often on camera, but not all the time, because I know you guys want to see some different things, and I want to show you some different things. So we'll go ahead but again, you can see that we definitely have some activity and some growth on these trees. I don't really see any apples to speak of because this is our 1 apple orchard. I don't see any apples, even small apples. Let's go ahead and speed this thing up a little bit as we go between the rows. Yeah, I don't see any small apples, but again, they're trying to give you a visual indication that yes, we're not at the very start of a cycle. You did get, I think we got 1 day in of growth out of the 3 we needed. So yeah, we're in really good shape on this particular orchard. So we'll take care of the spraying here, then we'll head over to the other orchard, or orchards I should say, multiple, and we'll take care of the spraying there. Another part of this update that I really want to get into because they have been playing around some with the greenhouses. And so I saw that the greenhouses were indeed changed as part of this update once again. And as I did a little testing before filming today's episode, I noticed that things are looking very good for the greenhouses, not the industrial greenhouses. I don't know if they're holding out on them until they get the regular greenhouses right or what, but if you saw my guide to the greenhouses, well, of course, as always is the case, and I mentioned in that video, things are subject to change based on the balancing that the developers do, and they have done that once again. But this time it is very much in our favor with regards to profitability of the greenhouses. And also, not only that, let's actually go to our map. We need to teleport across the map here. There we go. But not only with regards to the profitability, but also the amount of time we would have to spend working on them. So they've made it to where the resources are going to last us a lot longer. How much longer? Oops, look at me hitting the wrong button. How much longer? Well, I guess we'll have to find out, because I deliberately did not do a lot of testing with that because I wanted to do it with you guys on camera whenever we get an opportunity. Woo, that was some definite stutters going on right there. The game was freaking out a little bit because I forced it to draw in the orchard and who knows what else. Did we just hit that sign again? We're just going to just make ourselves hit that sign every time. That's just becoming a thing that just has to happen. All right, here we go. So again, you can see the same level of growth. They are visually letting us know that we are not at the beginning of a growth cycle, that it did register that 1 day of growth that we had. But yeah, those greenhouses, and the little bit of testing I did with them, it looks like they are going to be very, very profitable. And like I said, they are going to require a lot less effort from us on a regular basis. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't go back into those whenever we hit that reset button early on in the series. I believe it was video 2 or 3 or something like that, once we had some our first major updates to the game. But yeah, they have gone a long way toward fixing those issues, and I applaud them for doing so. It also makes me really look forward to getting back to some field work, because they've now taken a couple of swings at improving the AI functionality, and I'll keep a watch on the forums, and I'll do some testing on my own if I have a little bit of extra time, because field work is hard to test because it takes quite a few steps to get anything going. Not as simple as doing some testing with some of these other aspects of the game. So I'll try to keep an eye out and see if the ghost is clear and we are able to get back onto the field, because that's where we can get some real money. Once we get into the bigger fields, and that's going to be a huge step forward for us. But of course, that also requires a huge investment in machinery, because we're going to need a lot of implements, and then of course we're going to need to spend a lot of money on tractors and harvesters. Alright, so we are finishing up our first orchard now. And then we'll get started on orchard number 2. So yeah, I was very excited to see that update, because I didn't see anything. The first couple of updates, for the most part, the developers had been pretty open about what was going to be part of those, but this time, at least unless I missed it, there was no real hoopla around it from the developers about what was going to be included. And you would expect that going forward, because as they take care of the bigger issues in the game, you'll have less and less of the attention on the updates as people are more and more happy about the state of the game. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, I enjoyed Real Farm, and I'm saying that in the past tense, not because I won't ever go back to it, but because for now it is night and day about my level of enjoyment between Real Farm and this game. This game, as soon as I picked it up, it was immediately fun. I could find fun stuff that I wanted to do. But with Real Farm, it was harder for me. I had to work at it to find things I enjoyed, and more things that just didn't really set well with me, just didn't really make sense. Not that it was a bad game, and I know they've continued making updates to it, which is why I do plan on going back to it at some point. But this game has definitely caught my attention to a greater degree, and held my attention to a much greater degree than that game did. So hopefully whenever I get a chance to go back to it, and maybe do a few videos on it if time allows, and if that's something you guys continue to be interested in, then hopefully it will pique my interest and keep my interest going forward. But I do know there's some things I'm interested in doing on the channel here moving forward. One of them is coming next week. It's a game release coming next week I'm really excited about. And if it does, and if it's the type of game that I believe it's going to be, and allows the type of gameplay that I'm interested in, then I think that one is going to be a great game to have on the channel. And it's something I'm really looking forward to. Alright, so we are... Ooh, watch out. Learn how to drive. So we are almost done with orchard number 3 in total, and number 2 over here. So it doesn't take long. I mean, we're going a little bit faster. If you remember in times past, we've been going about 4 miles an hour. while we were spraying. Now we're going 6 miles an hour. It doesn't seem like much, but percentage-wise, that's a nice increase and something we'll take. And of course, just as I say that, we're now going back down to 4 miles an hour. You gotta love that. Just gotta love it. Nope, now it jumps back up. All right, you can see we're at 98 and now 100%. And once again, I will not be refilling the water tanks simply because I already know that whenever we reach the end of the growth cycle, it will automatically zero that out for me anyway. All right, so we got that taken care of. Let's come back under our notifications, and you can see everything is all set for 3 days. So now it's time to cut. We'll come back in 3 days. All right, we are back, and it is time. We need to start making some money. So all 3 of our orchards are ready to go, and actually, cow barn number 1 has 15% milk, which is very close to being ready for a full load of milk. So we are in great shape. Let's go ahead and get started with that. Let's go ahead and take... Ooh, watch out now. Hold on. Let's take our trailer over here. Let's see if our medium tractor is actually going to be able to handle this thing. I'm going to start over here on the left-hand side first. Now, while we were away, I decided to go ahead and take off a couple of loads of manure, the solid manure, not the slurry. And I think I did 1 load of the slurry as well. All of that was on cow barn number 1, our original cow barn. We don't have anything really much to do on cow barn 2 just yet. All right, let's go ahead and start our pour. Let this thing start filling up. This thing has a huge capacity, and yet even with that, we've got more pairs to put in there than we got room for on 1 load. Alright, we've already talked a little bit about it, but what we're going to be doing with this money, once we get all of our income from the orchards and the cows and all sorts of stuff like that, on this particular rotation, what we're going to do is we are going to get some greenhouses. But of course, we'll start out with 1 greenhouse, and we'll need to get some equipment to work the greenhouses. Now, yes, as always, we could share equipment and do all that, but that really takes the fun out of it for me. I want to purchase dedicated equipment just for the greenhouses. So we'll be doing that. Unfortunately, we won't have time to do that in this video as much as I would like to. And this is why I bring up the idea of streaming this game, because this game is so perfect for streaming, because there's just so much stuff that I want to do, and every time we do a video, I end the video wanting to do more, which is a great aspect of this game. It says a lot about the game itself, as I want to keep going. If it was up to me, we'd probably have like 2-hour-long videos and that kind of thing, but I don't think we quite want to go that direction. So instead, I'm looking into the idea of doing some streaming. All right, let's go ahead and sell off. Woo, if we can get this thing to stop. Hold on now. All right, hold on. Come back to me. All right, there we go. By the way, I remembered there was one more thing that I forgot to show you guys in the update, and that is if you look in the top left-hand corner or on the left-hand side of the screen, all of those menu options are gone. All of those with the press of F1 were done. Now look at that. Pears. We just made 12 grand on some pears. $12,000 we just made on pears. I'll take it. That is, it continues to astound me. I have some idea about some of the things that, you know, relate to farming, because as I mentioned before, I have dealt with goats before. Absolutely loved it. Loved working with the goats. So I have some idea about some of that stuff, but it just astounds me at the amount of pears and apples and stuff we are getting in this game. Huge and huge amounts. from a relatively small area. I mean, if you look at these, I mean, these are not huge areas. So not bad at all. And of course, I know a lot of this has to be sort of gamified, if you will, so that it adds gameplay elements and so on that wouldn't exist in real life, but we have to make a game out of it. All right, let's go ahead and get the remainder of these. Let's see how much it fills it up. Okay, more than normal. A good bit more than normal, actually. Wow. All right, come on. Let's get going, tractor. Come on. I'm also looking forward to getting a little bit different type of tractor. I know we've gotten our first heavy tractor that we're using mainly for the cows. But there's another heavy tractor that I really want to get, the McCormick, and it just has a very nice look at it. I tested around, playing around with it a little bit in some testing, and I really like it. I really like it. It's also not expensive at all, and it is more powerful, much more powerful in some cases, than the tractors we've been using. All right, let's see. I wanted to drive by. Nope, it's not even going to show me. All right, did it indeed? All right, show me the percentages. There we go. Okay, yeah, it did indeed go to 0 water storage. We're still at 81% water, though, water level, so we're still okay there. I mean, you would expect it to be in really good shape after like 3 days in a row of rain. All right, let's go ahead and fill up the remaining area of the trailer here, and then we'll come back for that one final load. So nice to have the ability to sell these things so close to the actual orchards. That is a huge part. I mean, whenever I'm figuring out where I want to expand on this map, the first thing I do is figure out, okay, what's close to it? Are the resources I need close by? Of course, water is a huge part of that. Where can I sell? The good thing is, in this game, you have multiple locations to sell everything, but all of the locations sell for the same price. So there are good and bad ideas about doing that, but one of the great things about it is it means that essentially you can just pick the one that's closest to you. And as long as there are plenty on the map, then you'll generally be able to find something relatively close to you. That is not always the case as much as I would like for it to be with water, as an example. And we've already talked about fuel in the past, about how I would love to have mobile water tanks, or the ability to just place down another water storage device that's a little bit closer to where we want it to be. All right, now if we get our normal yield from this harvest, then we would be somewhere around 80-85% full on this particular load. And yep, that looks like that's going to be exactly it. So the rain didn't end up hurting us. It just simply put a pause on where we were. Okay, so not bad. Just means we spend a little bit more money this time, because instead of spraying it once and only having to pay for that spray one time in this particular growth cycle, we ended up having to do it twice. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're really concerned about your money, then maybe you hold off if you know there's rain coming, but otherwise not really all that big a deal. Same, however, cannot be said for field work. All right, so you see our money going up in the top right hand corner, and this is very nice. This is going to leave us a lot of money, which is good, because we're going to need a lot of money to get started in the greenhouse business, or at least the way we're going to be doing it. All right, so that takes care of these orchards. Now we need to head to the other part of the map, and we'll take care of that orchard. So after this update, the game is looking really good to me. Again, there's always going to be things that I want to see added and done differently and whatever. But I am, at this point, very happy with how quickly they've gotten a lot of things done, a lot of things fixed and patched and so on. Very happy with that. All right, I was beginning to worry. I couldn't see any apples in there. Beginning to worry if maybe we didn't get any apples in here and I misread our notifications. But sure enough, we got plenty of apples in here. Alright, there we go. Full trailer. Alright, let's see what we get out of this. So we know that apples have traditionally been paying us a little bit less overall than the pears have been. And I have not been tracking the stock market, so we'll see what we end up getting here. But I think overall we've been getting somewhere around like $500 to $1,000 less per load of apples as opposed to the pears. So, you know, in real terms, if this were real life, then this would be more of an issue, but for us, that is no big deal. And it is beautiful to be able to say that. Alright, if they would just take away the last couple of links in that fence right there, that would really help me out a lot. Alright, stop. Let's go ahead and get these bad boys sold. And that is a lot of pounds of fruits and vegetables that we bring over. There we go. So 13.5. All right, not bad. It seems to have evened out. Unless I missed something, that really seems to have evened out quite a bit. But like I said, I might be. Let's just head through the grass here. There's that music again, coming from the party animals over at the diner. Alright, I'll just leave this here for now. I have to be back later for my tractor, because that is the same tractor I'll be using for the watering. Alright, so let's take a quick glance. Alright, so our forecast, in a couple of days it's going to rain. It looks like great after that. Alright, so notifications. Alright, we still got one more day on our animals. Or at least one more day before our second cow barn has adult cows, and then they can start getting into making milk for us. But for now, I think where we need to head is over to the cow barn, and we'll take care of that milk and get that milk sold. So what we need to do, if I can get out of here, there we go. Let's go ahead and, yep, that's exactly the one I want. Let's head back into our trailer, and let's head over and grab our milk tank. And, oh, that is the front. I thought that was the back that we were approaching. Okay, my bad. Let's see if we can get this from a weird angle and that'll let us have us. Oh, you see, he was even fussing at me saying you were at a wrong angle to be doing this. Okay, it's just not going to let me do it. All right, so we'll come at it from a different way. Can somebody even say the correct way? All right, that's a little bit better. That works out quite a bit better than... All right, we on there? We good? That just don't look like all that good of a connection there. Let's wheel this bad boy around and head over to the milk silo. You could fit a lot of milk in that silo. I mean, that's a lot of room for milk. A lot. All right, here we go. What we got? All right, so we got 14% in here, so that'll get us pretty close to a full load of milk. And look at that income we've got, or the amount of money we got, $81,397. Yeah, you can see in the bottom right hand corner, we got pretty close to a full load out of that. Not quite, but pretty close. So we will take that. And again, we're just waiting for, unless they have patched it, what we are waiting for here is we're waiting for that day on Cow Barn 1 where everything is at 100%. And if they've patched it out, then I guess we'll wait for the day that it says all of my cows have turned to old cows. One way or another, we will eventually sell off those cows in Cow Barn 1, and we'll take our profits and we will move on to a new set of calves and cows. Alright, so we're going to head back down to the same location we've been going to the creamery. See what we end up with after the end of today's activities. And of course, this is going to be even better because we know we got the sale of animals coming up tomorrow. So we'll be having some pigs that need to be taken care of. So that'll push us easily over 100 grand. And that will be a very nice thing. All right, there we go. Let's get in here, sell that milk, and make that money. Thank you very much. $6,300. So yeah, I mean, raising cows is just a very profitable enterprise in this game, and it pays dividends very quickly. Within the first 12 to 15 day cycle, depending on how you play it, within that first 12 to 15 day cycle, you're going to make a lot of money. So once again, we'll go ahead and drive this bad boy back to the farm because it's just not all that far. Ooh, we got to head of steam now. We are up to 26 miles an hour. We don't normally see speeds like this. The joys of having tractor with more horsepower. And an empty tank behind it. That never hurts. All right, there we go. Let's go ahead and attach, or detach that rather. Not attach. All right, let's bring our tractor back over here to where our other two implements are. And let's take a quick look at our notifications and let's see what we got. Okay, so let's see. Well, we're not going to deal with that right now. We're going to hold off. For some reason, we're still showing a little bit on the apple orchard. Did I not get all of that? Am I going to have to go back and get that? I may have done just that. I may have forgotten that second little bit there. Okay, I'll go back and do that, but of course I'll do that off camera because we are running low on time. Very low on time, in fact. So when we come back next time, of course, it'll be time to take care of some animals, and it will also be time to get into the greenhouse business. So for now, thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned next time as we continue our gameplay series of Pure Farming 2018.